What is up, party pimps? It's your boy, Derelict C, and I'm going to be doing a director's commentary for Chewwies The Server. I guess I called it Chewwies 4 for a while I was working on a script, but in case you couldn't tell, it is a parody of the hit sitcom series The Office, with obviously Beaminator playing the role of Michael Scott, Seth playing the role of Dwight, I suppose, Howie or Houtzer playing the role of Jim Halpert, and I think that's more or less it. I tried to recreate the intro shot for shot, at least towards the start of it, where you see the title card, a series by Derelict Country, and then you have all these kind of possibly funny little instances of all these characters being introduced. I don't think Beam is actually a wife beater. These actual sequences, this part in the intro was actually originally going to be Beam, like a miniature Spartan, because he's so short. There's not really much to say about how he's bit here. He just kind of walking along, with nothing really happening in the foreground or background. John is just, he gets his saber and he goes on a nice, luxurious flight in his ship. Nothing really to say there. Blizz is just praying at his place of worship, and one of his old friends shows up behind him to show him his brand new toy. And then you have the scene with me where I'm just having a luxurious shower and enjoying myself when I have a few little peeping toms come in to pay me a visit. So it's kind of a very innocent opening sequence, I would say. One of the more innocent ones that we've had in Chewwies, which is pretty nice. And it was a lot of fun to do this one. I actually think I shot this bit last. Outside of pickups, this is what I shot last for the series, because I had to go through some levels to get access to this parts and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and then you have this kind of logo thing, like with the end of the Office intro, where you have the statue becoming the Office logo. And I got this chiptune version or this 8-bit version of the Office intro. So we have Beam coming into the server, and I was initially going to use a different Forge world map, but given that John had made this himself for the RB the Chief server, it just seemed natural to use this for the actual episode itself. I didn't really initially have the crickets here in the background, but I thought some kind of cartoonish embellishment would work well for the story. So we have the cameraman or an interviewer off screen, and I don't think that's ever been featured in The Office. I haven't seen too many episodes, but I like the idea of there being someone off screen chiming in to kind of add an extra bit to the jokes. Obviously, we had to have a mention here to the notification bot in the RB the Chief server, and a lot of this stuff here is based off true events or exaggerations of true events. The notification bot is there. Beam and Howie do actually run the server now, and you'll see later on in the episode there are references to real life events that happened as well. So Howie obviously comes in, and I'm glad most people played themselves in this, which I'm glad for. Beam played himself, Howie played himself. They both did great jobs. They're both really good voice actors, and I enjoy working with both of them. I think this is my first time working with Howie on a project, and he loved the script right away, and he just jumped right into it. I can't say that everybody else felt the same, but I was that we had it. Obviously, we have the shot here with the classic Office shot with the blinds in the background, with Beam giving an interview to the camera while Howie kind of chips away at the background, setting up the scene for the episode. This was quite a simple effect that was done. Obviously you have Howie there setting up the PA system. I didn't want to change the map too much. I had a kind of a complex setup here for a mic stand, but I figured I'm just going to leave it because I probably need to strike that set afterwards. So I just put together a little table for John to do the signing, and I decided I'll just leave it there. So you have Howie setting up the mic system there, giving a little, I guess, his perspective from running the server, because I imagine in the universe of Chewwies that his perception would be a little bit different than Beam's, because obviously since Beam is supposed to be Michael Scott, he's supposed to be a little bit deluded regarding his leadership of the server. Now, that's not to say how actually Beam actually runs it, but obviously that's just, I thought it made the thing a bit more comical. This scene here with the movie night, it was based on real events. Beam ran a movie night, and I think only Sev showed up, and that's obviously not a comment on Beam's admitting skills. It's just a funny meme, I thought, and the effects that I used with the TV here turned out a lot better than I expected. Sev didn't play himself in this, and it took me a while to track down his Halo Reach avatar. But once I got it in there, and once Sev actually saw the episode, he actually loved this scene. He really, really enjoyed it. He was quoting it to me for ages. So if you're listening to this, Sev, you're an absolute trooper for liking this scene, you know. There's one nice bit here, I think, when Sev sits down next to Beam, and Beam just kind of like shuffles over to the side. It's just a tiny little touch, but it makes me giggle every time I watch it. Even this whole interaction. Obviously, if you're not a Machinima fan, this isn't going to mean a whole lot to you, because they're just two, people in power suits crouching down next to each other, awkwardly holding their arms up. But I think there's a nice back and forth here, you know. And then obviously, Beam turns off the movie and walks out, because who in their right mind would want to be watching a movie with Sev? And then this bit here is a bit of a, I think you can call it projection if you want. Like, this is much more an instance that would have happened with Derelict than with Beam running the server, because Beam isn't around in the server too much. This is something that would happen to me a lot more when I was running the server, you know. But I figured since I'm no longer running the server, I can kind of hoist the stroke onto Beam, so to speak. Yeah. I like making random Spartan loadouts and putting them in as background characters and stuff. It's really fun. I wish you could apply them to the AI or the player models you could put in the SVE Mythic Slayer mod, which was a really big help for this episode. You'll see later on when we have the crowd shots, but putting in all those extra enemy spawns was really helpful. And you'll see some of the SVE mod here in a bit, I think, when you see all the vehicles pouring in. This bit's nice. Has me and Blizz, and the lines for this bit, this whole sequence here was actually taken from the original script for Chewwies 3, but that whole script didn't work. I got a bunch of actors to submit lines for it, and I appreciate them doing so. It had a similar layout to this, where it was about the Discord, but there was something in the layout that just didn't work, so I reused that bit with me and Blizz in this episode, and I think it turned out really well. The little cart and everything worked perfectly. And then we have this bit here where one of the mods takes the Seraph and flies it into us, which I think turned out well. I'm really glad 343 came through with all those ships and stuff for MCC, because I think there's no easy mod to download like the SVE mod that lets you fly ships. I could be wrong, but I'm just glad they added them, because it made scenes like this really easy to do, and I think the scene turned out well as well. And one thing I really like in the next scene coming is the dance scene with the strobe. I think the strobe looks really, really good. I think that's how, from the nightclubs I've been in anyway, this is how strobe lights usually work. It looks better than a lot of the other nightclub scenes I've seen in some machinimas, you know. This is another scene where you see a lot of the SVE Mythic Slayer mod in action, where you just have all these player models, you know. And I think a more seasoned machinima director is going to know exactly what I'm doing here. But I think it works for the purpose of this scene, you know. And if it's not clear, this is the previous scene with me and Blizz getting killed, and this scene here. This is all a flashback to Howie, and I hope that becomes clear once we cut back to him looking out onto Forge World, you know. And then we have that cartoonish cut back to the wide shot. And I wanted to use a cartoonish kind of giddy up, running away sound, but I never got around to it. But I don't think the episode suffered too badly because of it. And then this is kind of another example of the SVE mod with the Falcon variations and all the players pouring in, just to kind of show that, yes, there are players coming. It's time to get ready for this event. So then we cut to this, this PA scene, or the scene of Beam giving a speech, opening the server, and we have John there. And there are some people in the comments that were actually thinking that John came in for this episode. I don't think John would ever come in to work on any of my videos, and I wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't blame anyone for not wanting to work on my videos. But I had to get some clips from him, and it took a while to get these voice clips going. That 12K resolution ribbon, that took ages to render, but I think it turned out just about okay. So yeah. And then I think, we have the 3 player models in there at the top. We have Beam, John, and Howie. And I put in one extra one down there just to, bring up the personnel count on that as well. So just before we have the cue shot, we have Beam giving a little bit of an extra gag regarding the slurs. And then we're straight into the queuing shot. So this was pretty simple to do. I just rearranged a lot of the.
Next.
I forgot about the book cover. I'm really proud of the book cover. That turned out really good. Shout out to Corner Pin. That was the real unsung hero of this episode. This all turned out as well, good as well. All the voice actors who came in for these roles did great. I think they were all John fans already, so it really turned out great. Howie was great. You know, I think this scene is, and this is technically the last scene of the episode, so everything kind of comes to a head. All the jokes that have been established prior kind of come back up to the surface again, so it kind of bookends the episode quite nicely. And obviously John doesn't hate all of his fans or all the people who watch his show. This is just like, it's not even a meme, it's just embellishing or exaggerating the character, you know. John obviously loves his fans, and I think the gag is that he's someone who resents his fans quite highly because, you know, he goes radio silence at times, and some fans misconstrue that as him hating his fans, which isn't the case at all. And then we have Howie being the strong arm, pushing out fans then when they make John uncomfortable. And this whole scene here is, I think, is good because it kind of captures the kind of nonsense that John would get quite often on his stream chat, where everyone's saying, "Oh, John, I've been your friend for so long, I've been watching your show for so long," and it's almost a copy paste at this stage where people say the same shit over and over and over and over and over and over. So that's what that was about. And obviously we have the scene at the end where Pal comes in and just blows up in everyone's face. And I thought that was a nice way of, for lack of a better term, ending the episode with a bang, or going out with a bang, as Johnson said. So yeah, and I think in every episode of Chewwies, I've always had a very solid choice of music or soundtrack. So that was Chewwies, the server. Chewwies 4, or sorry, this was Chewwies 4. So Chewwies 5 is already written. I have all the lines in, and I have most of the extras in there. There is a pinned post on my Twitter, which is probably not available anymore since I'm going to upload this later. But yeah, Chewwies 5 is on the way. So we have your post-credit scene there. It's not really any kind of MCU, wider multiverse kind of thing. It's just something to kind of give you an ending gag just to get you out of there, you know. So you'll see a few familiar faces here from Civil Discord and such, and maybe even some of the RB Bulls. And, you know, with that said, I thank you for watching this director's commentary for Chewwies, the server, and I hope you watch the rest. Peace out.